Hello everyone and welcome to the Speed Reading Bootcamp follow-up to week number 3. Now, I just want to let everyone know that you can get weekly updates on this YouTube channel. So hit the subscribe button below this video if you want those updates. And let's get right into it. So homework for week number 3 is to conduct those speed drills that we talked about. So this is our third week. On week number 3 we covered memorization techniques. In the next week, we're going to go back into boosting your speed. So in preparation for that, I'd like you to get a little bit of drilling done. And if you'll recall, we went over this whole process of a 4-step process, what we call the IRIS method for approaching reading material. So you inspect the material first, that's getting familiar with it, getting the overview. We talked about how to do that. And then the reading step. While you're reading, go through and continue to read as we discussed in the Speed Reading Bootcamp. But while you're reading, you want to keep track of how much time it's going to take you. So let me explain what I mean by that. Once you're done reading, you're going to inquire, ask some questions. What did you just read? Take note of most important points, things like that. And then we talked about the storage step. How do you go about memorizing information? So apply one of the techniques that we covered. We covered several based on the kind of information you might have to memorize. Now, another way to tweak this process with the drills that we talked about is for this last step to become something different. So instead of storing the information, what you would do is you would do a speed drill. Now, if you recall from week number 1 in the Speed Reading Bootcamp, the speed drill, here's how it basically works and how you would implement it in this process. You inspect the information first, as we discussed. You're going to read the information. While you're reading, make sure you time yourself. So let's say you read through the chapter in 20 minutes or whatever document you happen to be reading. Let's say it takes you 20 minutes. Now you're inquiring about the information, asking some questions, and then you're doing a speed drill. So if you were reading for 20 minutes through the information, your speed drill should be a 10-minute drill. And to remind you of what that means, the whole point of the speed drill is to essentially skim what you've already read in half the time. So if you read for 20 minutes, you're doing a speed drill in 10 minutes. Or if you read for 12 minutes here, your speed drill is going to be 6 minutes. Now you're just skimming over the information you already read, and this is actually helping not only with speed, but it's going to help you with retention and what you remember, because we all know what you remember is largely based on repetition. Look at all the repetition going on here. 1, 2, 3, 4. If you're adding notes to this process, you're getting even more repetition. So how these speed drills work, just to remind you, I like to compare it to being on the highway. If you get used to going 80 miles an hour, how does it feel when you get off the highway? It feels kind of slow. Sometimes you're still going 40 or 50. So the point here is to see words at double your normal speed. So what that means is if you're an average reader and the average is around 200, you're practicing at 400, so that 250 feels slow. If you're at 250 with good comprehension, you want to be practicing at 500. So eventually 300 becomes your new normal. And if you're already at 300, you practice at 600 because you want to eventually get to something like 350 or above, and so on and so forth. And it's a step-by-step way to start boosting your speed. Now you could also use Accelerator for this. We talked about that. If you go accelerator.com, that's the free speed reading tool that we developed that basically flashes the words on the screen. So what you're going to do is you're going to take some information. Let's say you're going to read this article here. Zoom CEO reclines back in chair in front of massive wall of screens displaying 10 million live video feeds. You're going to copy the text. You're going to paste it into Accelerator. You set your settings at whatever speed feels comfortable for you. Now, for you, maybe that's 350. And if you're reading at 350 words per minute, here's how that is going to look. Okay, so you read the information at whatever speed feels comfortable, and then you go to your settings and change that to double your normal speed. So if you're reading and comprehending at something like 350, you want to double this up now, And let's see what that looks like at 700. This is now our speed drill. Here we go. All right, so that's essentially what you would be doing if you're going to apply these speed drills using an Accelerator app. Now, I'd recommend doing these. This homework is, I'd recommend 15 minutes a day at a minimum, 15 minutes per day until next week's session. Utilize Accelerator for that, or you could use paper documents, that's fine, or online documents, but you want to be going at double your normal speed during those drills in the manner that we discussed here. Now, if you want to get weekly updates, we had a lot of questions coming in from the Speed Reading Bootcamp. If you subscribe to this channel by hitting that red button below the video, that's where you'll be able to get updates. Basically, YouTube will send you an email anytime we upload a new one to this channel, and we're going to be utilizing this channel to post not only updates and homework like we're doing here, but also the questions that have been coming in that we didn't have time to get to live. We have been keeping track of those questions, and we are in the process of creating videos, personalized videos for all of those questions. So send your questions to paul@irisreading.com. That's my email address. And subscribe below so you can get updates when we post answers to those questions. So please do send us your questions. A lot of times if you have a question, it's someone that also has a very similar question that's already out there. We've had a ton of registrants for the Speed Reading Bootcamp, so thank you so much for checking it out. And here's my contact information. Feel free to connect on LinkedIn if you want. And I look forward to seeing you next week. Take care.